So we'll get started with section 10.3. 10.3, we're going to be graphing lines. There's a couple different ways to graph lines. First way I'm going to show you is by graphing the intercepts. So when we're graphing a line, first thing we're going to do is let's just talk about some of the basics here. And if you have a problem where it's like x is equal to 2, right? Or if you have a problem y is equal to like 3, right? We need to know how to graph those. Those are the most basic types of lines. If you have x is equal to a number like x is equal to 2, it's just a vertical line through the x value. So it looks like this. You have y equals a number, that's going to be a horizontal line. Through the y value. Those are more like kind of basic types of lines, right? When we get to other types of lines that have an x and a y, what we do is we find what are called intercepts. What an x-intercept is, an x-intercept, what we do is we make y equals 0 and solve. And this is where the line crosses the x-axis. Y-intercept, we make x equal to 0 and solve. This is where the line crosses the y-axis. This is the x-intercept, this is the y-intercept. This is the y-axis, this is the x-axis. One thing we could always do is in our last class, what we did, if you remember, is we made a table and we plotted points. So let's just kind of write this under here as a disclaimer. You could always plot / pick points and connect. Especially if the origin is an intercept. With that said, what I have is a few examples. And we'll graph them by finding the intercepts. At any point, feel free to ask me questions. You don't have to raise your hand, just yell at it. But what I'd like you to do is graph following by finding the intercepts. Start with x equals -2. Equals -2 is right here. What you have to remember is it a horizontal or is it a vertical line? Vertical. That's what we said in the beginning of the class. It means y equals 3, which is right here. Would have to be horizontal line. So that's how you graph them kind of basic lines. Let's take a look at somewhere we have to find the intercept. So if we had x plus 2y is equal to 6. The way you get the intercepts is you set the other letter equal to 0. So we want to get the x-intercept. We're going to make y equal to 0. If we want the y-intercept, we make x equal to 0. Y is 0, you just get x plus 2 times 0 is 6. So x would be 6. And we should always label our intercepts. To get the y-intercept, you put 0 in for x. The y is 3. Connect the dots. That's something like that. Now, what if we had negative x plus y is 4? I'm just kind of doing the same thing here. Just like before. And if we want the x-intercept, we just put 0 in for y. If y is 0, negative x would be 4, so x is -4. Get the y-intercept, we put 0 in for x. And we just get y is 4. Here's your line. We had y is equal to 2x minus 3. Sometimes the letters could be like in different locations. We'll get the x-intercept by making y 0. Solve for x. X would be 1.5. Solve for y by putting 0 in for x. Gonna graph it. The x-intercept is 1.5. The y-intercept is -3. Line would look like this. A couple more. We have that x plus 3 is equal to 0. There's no y there, so just bring the 3 over, and it's the same problem we saw in the beginning. Remember, x equals anything is a vertical line. And then our last one looks like this. This one just has the x-intercept. The x-intercept is just -3. There is no y-intercept. So we would just say none. You don't want to put 0 for the y-intercept because 0 would mean it crosses right there, and that's not true. Last one for this section is y is equal to 2x. Because that means that the y-intercept would mean where to find it. We're going to talk about parallel in the next section. The parallel is everything slow. I'm going to talk about parallel. And then y equals 2x. If we go to get the x-intercept by making y 0, we just get 0 equals 2x. So the x-intercept is 0. Get the y-intercept, you put 0 in for x. Y would be 0. So that's not really helpful either. When we go to graph this, the x and y intercepts are both 0. How are we supposed to graph a line that only has 1 point? Lines are made of 2 points. We only have 1 point. What do we do? All Ghostbusters? Well, no, they definitely cross right there. The question is, does the line look like this? Does it look like this? Does it look like this? So I'm going to go back in the notes a little bit. But here, even though we're finding the intercepts, you want to graph a line, you can always just pick points and solve it for y. Does that make sense? Remember in our last class how we made those tables? So what I would do for this line, because it's a little weird, the x and y intercepts are both 0. So, what I would do is maybe make a table. If you put 1 in for x, y would be 2 times 1 is 2. So 1 2. You put 2 in for x, y would be 2 times 2, which is 4. We couldn't really graph it with the intercepts, but all we had to do is just pick a few more points and we got the line.